Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, episode 4. So last time we had some villains and a roller rink flying into the sky. An interesting episode that made me think it was teasing a main villain, but it wasn't. It was just kind of teasing the one guy who came in at the end, the gravity guy, Gravitas. Um, yeah, that was entirely on me. I mistook his appearance earlier as someone else. So, yeah. But either way, still a very fun episode. Casey continues to be the best. Also, she has two dads, which is pretty damn swell. And I'm hoping we get more of them in the future. Because we've only briefly seen them before. Because before this, before I knew they were even her dads and everything, we had seen them like when she was on the couch watching that reality show and everything. They were there with her. One was like hanging over the couch, the other one in the background, I believe. And then we saw them there like more prominently working out with her in the last episode. So I hope we get more, even more prominent role with them in the future, like having them speak for one, but also having like them like take a part in the story to some degree, at least with Casey. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm very much enjoying this, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. So let's get to it. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I looked up LOS's voice, and they are voiced by Asia Kate Dillon, who is a non-binary actor, known for things such as Orange is the New Black, in which they were in 19 episodes, and Billions, in which they are a main character. I don't think I've heard of Billions. But yeah, they're apparently a main character in that. I obviously have heard of Orange is the New Black. They also had a role in the series Genlock from Rooster Teeth. And were in an episode of The Simpsons as well, it looks like. They were in John Wick 3, and not too much else after that. It looks like they were, they're fairly new. All things considered. Like, outside of a short film from 2009, it seems like they started acting in around 2011. And it started off slow, but it looks like they're getting more roles in the recent years, basically since around 2016 is when they really started getting a lot more roles. So yeah, pretty new to things, all things considered. So I've probably heard of them talked about in relation to maybe Orange is the New Black, or maybe even John Wick, maybe, because I've heard people talk about that every now and again. But I also might have just heard about them talked about just in queer circles, just in general. That's very possible. But they obviously did a great job here as LOS. I love the inclusion of the pronouns and everything in the episode as well. And confirmation that one of Lunella's classmates also goes by they, them pronouns. That's pretty damn cool. In like the first episode, we had like one of the kids had a trans sticker on their water bottle, and now we have a kid who is confirmed non-binary. Love to see this kind of representation. It's handled so naturally as well. Like they're just really making it feel like just a normal thing, and that's what we want. So, yeah. So this episode kind of continued the trend that these episodes seem to be going in, and that is dealing with some part of Lunella's character. These episodes seem to be dealing with different facets of her character and how she handles those situations, especially when that part of her character is called out or is attacked or just made readily apparent by others. And in this case, it is her overcompetitiveness. She isn't invited to game night by her family because she's too overly competitive. And she ends up getting over competitive with this sentient computer that not only has intelligence but also emotions, which is a pretty insanely high-tech piece of equipment there. Unfortunately, because of her hyper-competitiveness, she does accidentally cause it to go into overheated mode, which basically ends up turning it antagonistic towards her. They kind of go on a rampage, unintentionally and definitely against their will. It's because they overheated. But they are attacking Lunella. They kidnap Casey. And Lunella does eventually stop them, but chooses to spare them instead of destroying them completely. Because it's not their fault, it's Lunella's. And she acknowledges this. I've been on both sides of this entire kind of argument or debate or whatever the fuck you want to call it. This issue, let's put it that way. I've been super competitive at times. But there's also times where I have been on the receiving end of someone who's super competitive. And speaking as someone who's been on both sides, it's exhausting either way. When you're the one who's being overly competitive, it takes a lot out of you to the point where it feels like it's not worth it. You get exhausted and just overworked to the point where you just start to become apathetic towards things, I guess you could say. But on the other hand, when you're playing with someone who is overly competitive, when you're on the receiving end of that, it's exhausting to deal with that because it takes the fun out of playing. And so it's hard either way, and you gotta have like a lot of patience to deal with that. And sometimes I don't. So it being on the receiving end kind of helped me mellow out and stopped being as competitive as I used to be. Because of that, because I understood what that felt like to be on the receiving end of that. So I can definitely account for both sides of this. The thing is, my only issue is that the thing that her family was saying wasn't about her being competitive. Like, the stuff they were saying was talking about her, like, facing other issues while playing. Like, being overly, like, how would you word it? Like, taking things too seriously to where she has to overanalyze and overwork on everything. Like, that's not so much competitiveness. It's just, taking things too far to a degree where it still ends up in the same way. sapping away all the fun of playing the games, but still, that in and of itself is not about the competitiveness. Casey was great as always. I have to mention that. I have to bring that up. Even LOS agreed. Even they agreed that Casey is like the best. So that's pretty funny. The idea of a sentient computer and all just wanting a friend and being like really attached to Lunella is actually a cute idea. And I did feel for LOS the entire time. A lot of people might say, "Oh, it's just a computer. It's meant to be a silly thing for kids. You're not supposed to take it seriously." It's like, bitch, I played Detroit Become Human. Or I didn't play it. I watched people play. Point still stands though. I watched people play Detroit Become Human. That shit moved me in a lot of ways. It's like, you're not going to get through on that entire "it's just a computer" shit to me. If a being has full sentience to where they can form like comprehensive thought, intelligent speech and arguments and whatnot, and has a full range of emotions and all, then what's to say that they're not just as human as us? Just because they don't have flesh and guts and other organs and stuff? They have all of the intelligence, all of the sentience. They have human level empathy and emotion. It's like, how is that not human? Again, just because they're not flesh, just because they don't have a heart pumping blood, that's a very narrow-minded viewpoint of humanity. It really is. I think that obviously this stuff is not necessarily realistic to today's standards. Like, yeah, there are robots and stuff and AIs that have gained a lot of intelligence and whatnot, but not obviously not to this heavy of a degree. But nonetheless, it's still undeniable to me that if this were to happen, again, with that full level of intelligence and empathy and whatnot, and emotion, that they should be considered a person, a real person with capable of full thought and everything. It's just how it is. I stand by that. I know it might seem weird. I know that might seem off to you. I don't really care, honestly. Again, it's based on basically having a soul in my eyes, and all of that comes with what we see here with LOS. It's like they have a soul. They very clearly have a soul to them. Just because, again, they don't have flesh and organs and all of that, and a very hindered lifespan. I don't know how to word that. You know what I mean. Just because of stuff like that doesn't mean that they aren't deserving of being treated as real. They don't deserve to be treated as like this construct at that point. So yeah. But enough about all of that talk. I also had a lot of fun with this episode. It was just very entertaining, and again, the queer representation is just fantastic. I like the very natural way it's handling it. Also, I did notice when LOS referred to Casey as Lunella's queen. I know it was chess terms. I understand what was being said there, but at the same time, shipping fuel? Like, come on. That there is something there. There is some shipping fuel there. Um that's not even slightly deniable to me. There's unquestionably shipping fuel there, and that's really fun. Again, even if we know what was actually meant, it's like, come on. Do I personally ship it? I'm unsure at the moment. It's like I can see it, very much so, and we haven't had anything else in the way of romance in this series so far. Um, but at the same time, they do come across more as friends at the moment. If they progress anything and make anything like make them have like more like chemistry in that way, then I'm all good for it. I have no issue with the idea of them ending up together. In fact, I love that idea. But they have to set that up a little more first, I feel. Um, this was another good episode though. I really enjoyed this. So tell me in the comments below, what did you think of it? And thank you so much as always for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.